Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello and welcome to The Print. Now, of course, besides talking about how cold it is in Delhi, the other topic on everyone's lips is about when the COVID vaccine will roll out here in the national capital, especially at the backdrop of the development on Sunday with 2 COVID vaccines having been approved in Delhi. Joining me today is a very special guest, one of the key members of the Delhi COVID task force, Dr. Sunila Garg, who is the sub-dean here at Maulana Azad Medical College. She's also an advisor to the Indian Council of Medical Research. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us, especially because I know how hectic it's been for you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I want to begin straight away by if you could give our viewers a slight summary. The first phase of vaccination in Delhi, of course, will include health workers. If you could tell us more about that before I speak about the specifics.
First of all, let me tell you that Delhi also has started preparing for the vaccines much before. I think around 4 to 5 months back. In March, we started talking about COVID problem, but then gradually we realized that vaccine is the answer, looking at the spread of the disease, and we had a major surge in the month of November. There was a lot of cases, and we realized that vaccine is the answer. And also the scientist community has responded in a major manner in terms of development of the vaccine across the globe. And I'm really thankful to the scientific community, medical community, and you see overall whosoever have helped in the development of vaccine. And we are lucky that yesterday we got approval for the second vaccine, that is Covaxin, which has been developed by Bharat Biotech. But of course that's a emergency approval that will be used as a backup vaccine. Now coming specifically to your question of Delhi, now as I told you, Delhi has been preparing since long. It's almost more than 4 months. And also you should realize that Delhi has got major hospitals which are also totally dedicated COVID hospitals, and one of them is a Lok Nayak hospital also, which is a 2,000 bedded hospital. So where we are following all the standard treatment protocols for the management of the patients. We are looking at also patients who are coming with flu-like symptoms and all that. Now secondly, you see, when I told you that we are going to prepare for vaccines, and we are rather prepared for the vaccines. So as soon as the vaccines were nearing the third phase of clinical trial, particularly AstraZeneca was the one which made its beginning, and that also we are manufacturing in India with the Serum Institute of India. And also the third phase of clinical trial has happened in UK and also has happened in India also. So that vaccine will come first, that is Covishield. And for that, for any vaccine, since it's a newer vaccine, it's a newer disease, so we are preparing so that there are no loops. So for that we had a dry run this Saturday, which was 2nd of this month, and then we had dry run at 3 sites. And the dry run's basic objective was to see that right from the time the person gets the information, he reaches to the vaccination booth where his credentials are verified not only physically by officer 1, then he goes to the second point where his credentials are verified in CoWIN app, because this is the digital app which is linked to the center, so that we know at the end of the day that in the country actually whatever is happening in Delhi will happen in rest of the country as well. So then after verification of his documents, which is going to be photo ID, okay, and which will also have his phone number, contact number, okay. So then he will be sent to the next room where he will be immunized, and simultaneously the person is going to when immunization is going on, the officer is also talking that you have to come after 28 days, you have to wait for half an hour so that we can see if you have any pain, rash or something. Nothing will happen. We are also reassuring at the same time. So that person waits for half an hour. So during the dry run we also identified, and there was also a stretcher which was linked to the ambulance, because we have to...
The AEFI team.
Yeah, adverse events following immunization. Sure. So that is a normal part of any immunization process which we have been carrying out since long time in concern with our national immunization program, which is very robust. And Delhi, having approximately a population of 20 million, and we have approximately 14% as 40% as childhood population, and 17% approximately under 5 children. So we are also very robust in terms of our universal immunization program. Along with that, we are also immunizing our pregnant women, so our systems are already there. So, and anything which comes first, Delhi is always in limelight, you can see that.
And it's also a transit point because, the vaccine will be reaching here at the IGI airport. In fact, that's what I was coming to next. But since you mentioned the dry run, and I, for one, visited these sites on Saturday, have you been able to identify any loopholes that occurred that day and which you might want to rectify before the actual vaccine is rolled out?
I will not say that exactly they are loopholes. We have to actually streamline the process.
Sure.
Streamline the process means make it a very happy experience for the client. That means, we can stagger the crowd. So we can give appointments, like 10 people are going to come between 9 to 10, then 10 to 11 and all that. And to my mind, we should call the last person around 3 o'clock. So by the time his process is over, it will be almost 4 o'clock, including the waiting time and all. And if there are any adverse events, we can look at that also, and that person can be managed. And because this CoWIN app is going to function from 9 to 5, and not to say that we lose sight of our individuals, but we have to carry out everything properly, and including the biomedical waste disposal. So that is one point. And second observation, what is my important observation is that we should post a volunteer or anybody from the paramedical workers, so that he is there with the persons who are there in the waiting room for half an hour for any adverse event, so that they can they are assured that somebody is with us. Number two, if they have any problem, something like pain, paracetamol tablet can be given to them. If they feel any rash and all, we can give some Avil injection and all that, so that can be there. And also that person, if he is losing, let's say he'll say I've got a fainting attack or something, he needs to be transported. So there is a dedicated person for that. Sure. So I realize that. And another thing which is very, very important is that they must go as a well-informed person, that they have to come for the second dose. So that is another important thing, because that overall this has got to be a pleasant experience. And again, I will say that our workers have to be very watchful, and they were watchful about the cold chain also.
Right. So in fact, that was going to be my subsequent question. But since you mentioned coming back for the second dose, if you could also shed some light on the duration of the protection of the vaccine. What is the likely time period? I know it's too soon as far as the COVID vaccine is concerned, but if you could shed some light on that as well.
You mean to say the immunity of the...
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you see, when we give the first dose of the vaccine, already our immune system, starts, that means we have got humoral cell immunity and we have got a T cell immunity. So when we are giving the vaccine, it is something like we are mimicking a real time infection, but in a much milder form, so that our immune system only gets stimulated. So antibodies, they start developing in the body, and by about, let's say, plus 2 weeks, we have larger portion of them. But in order to boost them to the optimum point, we give a vaccine after 28 days. So for both the vaccines, what we have got right now, Serum Institute of India vaccine, that is Covishield, and for Covaxin, we have got 2 doses. And right now, other vaccines also are going to be almost in the similar doses. But we do have, innovations in terms of nasal vaccines and all, but it will take some time for them to come.
Also, you mentioned about how people who are going to turn up to get their vaccine should be well informed. We were talking a while ago. You said that there is also a lot of misinformation about how people should turn up empty stomach. Would you like to clear that misconception for our viewers? What should a person who's going to get vaccinated keep in mind?
You see, for any injection, I feel that the person should not come empty stomach. He should be taking, if it's a breakfast time, he should be taking breakfast. If it's a lunch time, he should be taking lunch. You see, it's not that, he faints because of hypoglycemia. He should be full stomach, and we should all disseminate this properly, that it may take some time at the booth. And, it may be an hour, and he should maintain patience, and he is going to stand with social distancing. That is another important thing. Not that we make a crowd. There are officers and there are volunteers to watch this whole exercise, and Delhi is really well prepared for that. We are educating everyone, right from the police department to the volunteers to our paramedical workers, to take care of everything so that we don't leave everything to the chance.
Out of the 51 lakh people who are going to be vaccinated in Delhi as per the current plan, the storage facility also plays a very important role. Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital is the largest such facility in Delhi, but there's also another one in Civil Lines. If you could also throw light on the relevance of why a storage facility is so important.
See, I also visited that facility, and what I looked at all the 3 rooms where there are, refrigerators of different capacity are there, including deep freezers. So at one point of time, I realized that we can store around 70 lakh vaccines over there. So it is very important to look at that facility yourself, and also one can realize that, there we can store the vaccines effectively, right, as soon as they arrive from the regional vaccine stores. And once they come from the regional vaccine stores to our state vaccine store, that is Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital, there also we are very particular that they are stored at the right temperature.
Which is what?
And that is 2 to 8 degrees centigrade, but we have the deep freezers where we are storing, we have the capacity to minus 25, but we can make it even, lesser also, if the need be for the subsequent type of vaccine. So that shows our level of preparedness. So these are all, this is regarding the storage, but remember that cold chain maintenance plays a most critical important role, so that the person should not go with a false sense of security that I have been immunized and the vaccine is not potent. He will not know. So, but then we all as learned healthcare people have to know that what we are administering to a common man is a vaccine which is a potent vaccine and which is going to give us the right kind of immunity. And we are following all the safe procedures.
Which is why I think the transportation from the airport to the storage facility has to be at the right temperature and is extremely important.
Absolutely.
Right. I also want to come to another very significant question. We of course know the first phase will include the healthcare and frontline workers. Our other categories include people above 50 and those below 50 as well, but with comorbid conditions. 2 questions, ma'am. One, the government hasn't specified in the case of COVID vaccine what COVID comorbid conditions are they planning to include. If you could talk about that. Second, while the government has spoken about how the list will be brought in from the electoral rolls, but we also know this list might not be exhaustive. If someone in this category wants to get vaccinated, how does one register?
See, number one, your first question was regarding the comorbidities. I want to bring to your attention that we do have a non-communicable disease program which is across the length and breadth of the country and right from the center till the grassroots levels. And we are including diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, stroke, cancers and all that. Okay. Now, comes the question of how do you prioritize? If there is a 60-year individual, he is diabetic and he is also suffering from, let's say, cardiovascular disease. He gets a priority over the individual who is only diabetic and he is less than 60 or he is also 60. There are 2 individuals of the same age group, but one has got 2 comorbidities, so he gets a priority. Now, why we are doing that? Ultimately, our whole exercise of immunization is not only to protect the person from the disease or COVID-19 infection, but also to prevent deaths. So the person who is having more comorbidities is likely to die more because of COVID-19 infection. So that's why is the prioritization. And the second thing is also we may not have exactly how many persons are suffering from comorbidities. So these persons, very soon we will be having CoWIN application available which can be downloaded on the Android phone as well. So one can look at that and one can go with and if suppose he or she is suffering from comorbidity and their name is not there in the list, so they can go with a complete document to the nearby healthcare facility and they can bring it to the notice of the doctor at PHC level to the block medical officer and all that, so that their name can be there. But they should not lose an opportunity to basically talk to any healthcare worker. so that they get a clue. And that's where you see we are going to play a very critical role through all mediums. That is, whether it is media, print media, electronic media, all the information will be coming soon so that everybody knows. But the problem will be, those people who are little less informed. So here comes the role of our important institutions like urban municipal bodies or Panchayati Raj institutions and all that. They also have to facilitate this whole process. So role of every individual becomes ultimately very important. And in state of Delhi as well, we are seeing that this information should reach to the last point so that every person becomes a well-informed
So
person.
necessarily, what you're trying to say is that the person can approach their local health facilities, of course the chief district medical officer, in case they do not find their name, as part of the list, but they fit in that category. Because we've actually had this query come from a lot of people on our YouTube channel as well. So maybe this is an important piece of information that we're sharing.
So one is through the channel of the medical officers, chief medical officers, or through paramedical workers. Second is they can, if they're that much, computer savvy, and they are, these days people are, and they will have somebody within their family or in the neighborhood who can help them out with the COVID app and who can search their name. And particularly, individuals who are less than 50 and comorbid, the challenge is going to be for them, so that, we teach them, how to look at that, and they can enter their name so that they get the vaccination on a priority basis if they're less than 50 and they're comorbids as well. Right.
I also want to talk about, the whole debate about the efficacy of these COVID vaccines. There is a lot of hesitation and concerns that have been raised about that as well.
You see, number one, what I'll say is that you have to understand what is efficacy. Efficacy is when you administer the vaccine, virus is going to come to you, but then here comes the role of antibodies. So, and also your own innate defense mechanisms. So, that person, first of all, will not suffer from the infection because there are antibodies. But then also, every vaccine has certain level of efficacy. Okay. So that means, he or she may get infection but will get in a very milder form. To give an example, like we say that measles is having more than 95%, protectivity, or it is giving you 95% immunity. So when we gave the vaccine, my husband is a pediatrician and we gave the vaccine to my child, he also suffered from measles. There was a chance that he suffered from measles, but he suffered in a very milder form. So even if these persons, they suffer from COVID-19 infection, that would be a much milder infection, and which will just come and go away kind of, and they will not have severe diseases like pneumonias or ICU hospitalizations and all will be, or admissions will be reduced. So that is important. But coming to the how much is the effectivity, that will come over a period of time. That means, when we are going into phase 4 or we have completed that is known as post-marketing surveillance. That means you have opened the vaccine to a whole segment of our population. Then we know that, okay, this much is the, 95% protectivity and all that. So immediately, for your purposes of understanding, you have to see that efficacy means how much, as a result of our immunogenic response, the person has the capability of protecting. And as far as we can see that it is about 70% in cases of Covishield vaccine, or which is a vaccine by Serum Institute of India. And the same, I think, will be approximately, by the Bharat Biotech vaccine, which is Covaxin. But we have completed phase 1 and phase 2 of the trial. And phase 3 trial also is completed to a larger extent in terms of, looking at 26,000 individuals, and out of which we have enrolled 23,000. And we hope that very soon we'll be able to get the results, which are, under consideration and under publication as well.
In Delhi, as the health minister, mentioned over the weekend, there'll be about 1,000 vaccine booths here. Absolutely. And about over 600 cold chain points as well. Could you also talk about how some of these places were actually selected for the process? There are some private hospitals also that have been chosen. Absolutely. But the government will be monitoring that closely. If you could talk about that.
Delhi already has, every state has cold chain points. That means we are using these cold chain points for normal immunization under universal immunization program. So, so around the cold chain points, since we realize that we have got 609 cold chain points. So we are utilizing the cold chain points, but we will be creating about 1,000 vaccine booths. To give an example, like Loknaik Hospital has 3,900 or nearly 4,000 workers. Max Hospital, Apollo Hospital has also got workers in large numbers. So it will not be possible for us to immunize them in a period of, let's say, a week. So what we will do is, within that whole setup, we will be creating more booths, okay, so that the vaccine can be taken from the cold chain point to these booths, like you saw in some of the dry runs, across. So they will be taken where the cold chain is going to be maintained, and something similar, 3-room facility will be created over there. And always remember that every place is not a super specialty hospital. Delhi is very big. We have, the very diverse areas as well. But we will be able to create a 3-room facility, whether it will be a makeshift facility with one permanent room and all that. But we will be doing the complete exercise so that, we can immunize at least 1 lakh individuals in a day with a pleasant experience.
And also, I think 100 per booth, if I'm not,
100
that's
per
the plan.
100 per booth.
The time it will be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's why I said that 100 per booth into 1,000 booths will be 1 lakh individuals. Hopefully, if everybody turns up, and we hope that everybody will turn up looking at the benefit of the vaccine. So it becomes very, very important, to explain the benefits of COVID-19 vaccination, to everyone, so that people turn up in larger numbers to protect themselves, to protect the elderlies in their families, and ultimately we have to protect everyone. The virus has to go away from the country.
So going by the target of 51 lakh target population in Delhi, we should be able to complete this process in 2 months?
Overall, if we see that, if we take all the margins of this whole thing, going by your calculation, that's right, this thing that we'll be doing 1 lakh every day, so 30 lakhs in a month and all that. But a lot of things will depend upon compilation of our list, which we are doing side by side, mobilization of people, and upgrading our COVID apps and all that. I think within 4 to 5 months, I'll say that we should be able to do that. And for the country, we have got a line of about July, where we are going to look at, the individuals in crores. So that's where, we are going to, hopefully we will achieve the target much earlier than, the far-flung states and all. As Delhi is the capital, whatever happens in Delhi becomes a kind of a role model for other these things also. So that's why Delhi, though being a multiple, having multiplicity of agencies, coordination is a major challenging task. So that's where, we are working very hard, so that we are bringing in all the systems, our, all the machinery, right from top to, at the implementation level, they're all very proactive, because our leadership is very proactive at this level. That's why we are leaving no stone unturned.
And my last question, you also mentioned the CoWIN application during this conversation. Everyone's been talking about it. We know that that's where all the data is going to be stored. If you could tell us a little bit more about that. Someone said they're also using the Aadhaar number to enroll, then the electoral roll lists will be a part of it. What is this whole CoWIN application going to entail?
You see, the CoWIN application is a very comprehensive application. In fact, it's a modified application of EVIN, that is Electronic Vaccine Intelligence Network, which we were already using it in, we are using it in our universal immunization program. So through CoWIN app, we'll be verifying all the beneficiaries. We'll be also, seeing what photo ID they have brought, and which will be already known to us. Okay, so we'll be matching with that. We'll be looking at the mobile number, because if we say that there is one, Ramlal, there are many Ramlals.
Absolutely.
So we have to see that, that has their photo ID, that has their address, that has got, complete details of the individual. And then along with that, we also, are going to see that when they are sent for vaccination, we are going to see whether vaccination is completed or not. Okay, maybe that some person, is very well prepared, but at the last minute he says, I don't want to be vaccinated, because you do not know exactly the mind of the individual. That is where comes the preparedness. Okay, then, also when after the vaccination also, we are going to record all, any kind of side effects. And remember, there is a central monitoring of cold chain as well, which is an integral part of this application. So it's a comprehensive app, which
The
is
entire
going to-
database for
Yeah,
the
entire
vaccination.
database, including the status of our vaccine and all that. How many vials are there? The capacity of each place. That is going to be reflected through COVID.
It hasn't gone live as yet, so will all these details will also be available publicly to say anyone like me who wants to access
Yes,
it?
it will
All
be,
of them.
Yeah, you will be able to download it through this app is downloadable, but you have to wait for and you have to be very vigilant. As soon as it is announced, you can also publicly tell people that this is a downloadable app. You can even demonstrate it through your media that this is an app which is downloadable, so that everybody can access it, and also provide this information to every family that even you may not be savvy, app savvy, but somebody in your family will be there who will be downloading that for you, and see that your name is there, so that you are not missed out if you are eligible for that.
And since I'm slightly greedy, I'm going to slip in one last question. When I came in, we were also talking about how there are a lot of post-COVID complications. I know this is slightly digressing from the vaccine point, but it is very much pertaining to the virus. How does one come out of those? You were preparing a paper of sorts on that. There are a lot of viewers out there who've been reaching out with this query as well. What's the way to address
See,
that?
what you have to understand that it is a COVID infection is an inflammatory disease, it is a thrombotic disease, it is an immunogenic disease. So it can affect any organ of the body. So we have to see that, post-COVID, we can see many kinds of manifestations. Person may be really depressed. He may say, I'm really breathless. I'm having severe body aches and all that. So, we have to assess the person completely in wake of this, because as I told you, it has got three properties. It is immunogenic, it is thrombotic, it is inflammatory. So, against this, it will affect all organs. So that's where we have to see that we have got post-COVID clinics which are at least there in every district where the person can access them. And the basic crux is not only the addressing those problems through counseling, but we also have to treat them. And we have to monitor the activities of daily living so that we can bring the person as much normal. But there will be another time for this discussion, because this is a discussion by itself. So I'll be giving you time for that.
Sure. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We will continue to track the vaccination program and the COVID coverage very closely at The Print. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel. With Surabh Bish, this is Anisha Bedi for The Print.